The October 9th, 2018 meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Alcoffer? Here. Mr. Ansello? Here. Mr. Baroth? Here. Ms. Boyce? Here. Mr. Brew? Here. President Carbone?
Here.
Mrs. Conley? Here. Mr. Delahanty? Here. Mrs. DeFlorio? Here. Mrs. Draw? Here. Mr. Felder? Here. Mr. Flagler Mitchell? Here. Ms. Harris? Here. Mr. Hebert? Mr. Howland? Here. Ms. Cayley? Here. Mr. Lightfoot? Here. Mr. Mafucci? Here. Mr. Marionetti? Here. Mr. Michike? Here. Mr. Morelli? Here. Mr. Moyo? Here. Mr. Rocco? Here. Mr. Shepard is excused. Ms. Taylor? Here. Mr. Terp? Here. Mr. Wilcox? Here. Mr. Wilt? Here. Mr. Zale? Here.
Please stay seated at this time. We'll have a moment of silent prayer. In doing so, please remember Brighton Town Board member James Vogel, who was also a retired colonel in the U.S. Marine Reserves, who passed away at the age of 80 this past weekend. Please stand as Legislator Lachey Harris will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Legislator Harris.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll ask you to remain standing. Without objection, we'll take agenda item number 19 out of the regular agenda order. Agenda item number 19 is moved by Legislator Marionetti and seconded by Legislator Cayley. Will the clerk please read the resolution in memoriam for Peter John Mafucci, father of Legislator Howard Mafucci.
Expressing regret of the Monroe County Legislature on the recent passing of Peter John Mafucci, father of Monroe County Legislator Howard Mafucci. Be it resolved that the Monroe County Legislature hereby expresses its deepest sympathy at the recent passing of Peter John Mafucci, father of Monroe County Legislator Howard Mafucci. And whereas Peter passed away on Monday, September 17, 2018, at the age of 93. And whereas Peter was born February 2, 1925, to Peter Mafucci and Mildred Bordeaux in Brooklyn, New York. Growing up, Peter formed a very strong and special relationship with his brother, Alfred. Peter went on to marry the love of his life, Ruth Sindel, and have two children, Howard and Patricia. Peter and Ruth raised their children in Beach Haven, Brooklyn, and Smithtown, Long Island. And whereas Peter was a World War II veteran who was always appreciative of the services of the United States Department of Veterans Affairs, he worked for over 30 years for the major New York department store, Abraham and Straus, where he had the opportunity to work in several stores. When he finally settled in Florida, Peter spent many years as a mutual clerk at the Palm Beach Kennel Club. Peter was an avid golfer throughout his life. He remained in his own home, living independently until the time of his passing. And whereas Peter is survived by his children, Howard and Patricia, their spouses, 2 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, nieces, and nephews. He will be missed by all who knew and loved him. Whereas Peter will be remembered for his fierce determination, independence, and compassion for others. Now, therefore, be it further resolved that the clerk of the legislature is hereby directed to forward a copy of this resolution to the bereaved family. This resolution was adopted unanimously, with each legislator rising in his or her place for a moment of silence.
Your copy of the Journal of Day 10, September 11, 2018 is available on your tablet. Without exception, the Journal will stand approved as submitted. There's a hearing loop in place tonight to assist those who are hearing impaired. Anyone requiring assistance should inquire in the clerk's office.
If you have a cellular phone, pager, or other electronic device in your possession, I would request that you make it inaudible for the duration of the meeting. Thank you for your cooperation.
This evening, I'd also like to take a minute to congratulate Legislator Mark Moyo on the birth of his son, Samuel Peter Moyo, on August 4th. Please join me in congratulating the Moyos on the new addition to their family. I'd also like to recognize Candice Lee, our Penfield Conservative Party leader. Where are you, Candice? Welcome. Legislators, the referrals submitted to the legislature for the next committee cycle are available on your tablet as well as online. This evening there are several proclamations scheduled. Mr. Clerk.
Would Timothy Prosperi please come forward? Also President Dr. Joe Carbone, County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, and Legislator Sean Delahanty. Whereas service to one's community through law enforcement is both courageous and commendable, Timothy Prosperi has served our community through the Monroe County District Attorney's Office for the past 30 years. Timothy began his long career with the Monroe County District Attorney's Office on July 9, 1988. And whereas he spent 4 years in private practice before entering public service, where he has successfully prosecuted hundreds of felony-level offenders, including 20 homicides. Mr. Prosperi served as 2nd District Attorney under both former District Attorney Mike Green and sitting District Attorney Sandra Dorley since 2009. Prior to his appointment as 2nd District Attorney, he was Chief of the Special Investigations Bureau and served as Deputy Chief of the Local Court Bureau. And whereas Mr. Prosperi served on the District Attorneys Association of the State of New York's Best Practices Committee and the Committee for Mental Health Court. During his time at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, he successfully prosecuted various high-profile cases, including the Biomed case, the Grease triple homicide, Chi-Li triple homicide, People v. Rideout, and the Dawn Wynn case. And whereas for the past 30 years, Timothy Prosperi has proudly served the County of Monroe, where his guidance and leadership has served the District Attorney's Office well. He has truly been an asset to law enforcement and our community as a whole. Now, therefore, we, Cheryl Donalfo, County Executive, Sandra Dorley, District Attorney, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, and Sean M. Delahanty, Legislator, District 11, on behalf of Monroe County, do hereby recognize and congratulate Timothy Prosperi on his well-deserved retirement from the Monroe County District Attorney's Office.
Just briefly, I'd like to thank the Legislature, Dr. Carbone, County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, and my friend and boss, Sandra Dorley, District Attorney. I thank you for the recognition of all employees that work for the county, and I'm happy to join the ranks of the retired. Thank you.
Would Frank Sardi and representatives from the Italian American Community Center please come forward? Also President Dr. Joe Carbone, County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, and legislators Frank Alcoffer and Tony Michike. Whereas the Italian American Community Center is known for honoring the legacy of Italian immigration to the United States. In addition to building a stronger community, the IACC invests their time in preserving Italian heritage and culture. The IACC has unified many Italian Americans to keep local Italian heritage intact through membership committed to cultural events and education. They continue to find creative ways to connect Italian Americans with our community. And whereas the IACC began in 1992, with a small group of representatives from both the business community and different local Italian American clubs and associations. The original purpose of the IACC was to provide a meeting place for recreation and social events for Italian Americans, but has developed into something much more. The IACC provides a wide range of family services, as well as support to existing Italian American social clubs, civic groups, and professional organizations. And whereas the IACC continues to be an extremely popular location for social events such as wedding receptions, luncheons, dinners, and even religious celebrations. The members of the ICC represent how one facet of our community can unite in the shared heritage to make life better for themselves and for their neighbors. The ICC prides itself on being an ever-changing, ever-improving facility and organization and will continue to contribute to our community. And whereas Monroe County is fortunate to have an organization that works tirelessly to preserve Italian culture and legacies, the Italian American Community Center is commended for fostering Italian pride and preserving Italian heritage in Monroe County. Now, therefore, we, Cheryl Donalfo, County Executive, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, Frank Elkhoffer, Legislator, District 4, and Tony Michike, Legislator, District 26, on behalf of the Monroe County, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Italian American Community Center for their contributions and service to our entire community.
On behalf of the entire membership of the Italian American Community Center, the entire board who are present here today, I'd like to thank the Monroe County Legislator, Executive Cheryl Donalfo, and Frank Elkhoffer for acknowledging the Italian American Community Center and its contributions to the Rochester community. Frank was instrumental in orchestrating this event. We thank both him and Cheryl for all the contributions they have made to the Italian American Community Center. Not long ago, it was normal for Italian Americans to hide their heritage. Many changed their names. They wouldn't celebrate Italian events openly, didn't speak Italian to their children, and were only allowed jobs of hard labor or factory work, the jobs no one else wanted. It was from this discrimination that Italian Americans from our poorest areas of this city instilled in our community a drive to succeed. It was from these areas that the Italian American success story was created. Today, Italian American businesses dominate the field of business, including multinational corporations and Fortune 500 companies. Italian Americans right here from Rochester are building our Rochester skyline. Our companies, including our construction and development companies, are changing the way Rochester looks. In the legal field, as many as half of Monroe County's bench is of Italian descent. Perhaps the greatest success is right here, evident in this hall. We're close to a dozen of you from both sides of the aisle are Italian American, including our majority leader, our president, our county clerk, and our executive. A lot has been said over the past week about what it means to be Italian American. We should remember that. We should keep that in mind when this community chooses to eliminate Italian from our schools. These contributions must allow us to acknowledge a day that has us celebrate our family's personal journey to a new land and an uncertain future. The beauty of our Constitution, it gives every culture the freedom to celebrate its heritage. And we ask that on this day, our achievements and hard work are not overlooked. The Italian American Community Center is proud of over 30 years of service not only to the Italian American community, but to the community at large. From food drives to clothing drives to hosting and supporting other non-for-profits, the IACC has been there. Our Women of Excellence Award was the first to acknowledge women who have achieved in the workplace and was started at a time when few were acknowledging these successful women. 25 years we have acknowledged women who have made contributions to our area. The ICC is proud of our religious events that are held together with the St. Padre Pio Chapel of Rochester. Most importantly, we are a voice, along with the other Italian American organizations in our area, that Italian Americans should never forget where they came from, that they should continue to be part of our community, and that we must continue to write the great Italian-American story. Thank you.
Would Mike Buckpitt come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone and County Executive Cheryl Donalfo. Whereas the PFC Dwyer peer-to-peer mentoring program is an outstanding way for veterans to build relationships with others. This program is especially important after they return from their time of service, considering that veterans often experience periods of depression and isolation that can be difficult to overcome alone. The Dwyer program, through informal and casual events, helps reduce the stigma of mental and emotional health concerns and provides a consistent outlet for veterans who may be struggling. And whereas in Monroe County, the Dwyer program is one of the most successful in New York State, having connected over 200 veterans in 2018 alone. Under the leadership of Program Director Mike Buckpitt, the local Dwyer program continues to grow in participation and popularity. Mike's vision for the program cannot be overstated, as the sustained success of the Monroe County group is due in large part to his thoughtfulness and compassion. And whereas leading the Dwyer program is consistent with the person Mike has always demonstrated himself to be. Through his work with community members at Compeer and Hillside Family of Agencies, as well as his many years as a school teacher, Mike has had a profound impact on the many people in our community. And whereas we thank Mike for his incredible leadership of the Monroe County Dwyer program and the enthusiasm with which he engages his fellow veterans. Lives are changed every day by his dedication to his work, and we share the gratitude of the many veterans that live in our community. Now, therefore, we, Cheryl Donalfo, County Executive, and Dr. Joe Carbone, President, on behalf of Monroe County, do hereby proclaim today, Tuesday, October 9th, 2018, to be Mike Buckpitt Day in Monroe County in recognition of his successful leadership of Monroe County's PFC Dwyer peer-to-peer mentoring program.
I don't know what to say to that other than I love what I do, and I have a great team that supports it. And for it to be Mike Buckpitt Day, it really should just be another Veterans Day. I have Eric Bateshold, who's my right-hand man, who helps me bring this program to life every single day. I have a strategy, I have a vision, like what was said here, but there's hundreds of vets that we're serving right now that bring what I want to happen to life every day, and some of them are standing right back here. Dana Frames allowed me to have this opportunity. Cheryl, Nick Stavanovich, the Monroe County Veteran Service Agency Director, George Hebert, who's one of our drivers for our Vets Driving Vets program. We're doing so much, and it's just so wonderful to have such a caring community for vets here in Monroe County. Thank you so much.
Would Cynthia Chandler and representatives from the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation please come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone, County Executive Cheryl Donalfo, Majority Leader Brian Marinetti, and Minority Leader Cynthia Cayley. Whereas pulmonary fibrosis is a serious disease that creates scarring in the delicate lung tissue of affected patients, causing progressive, incurable lung disease. Pulmonary fibrosis is often misdiagnosed and underdiagnosed, and a need has been identified to increase a wide-ranging awareness and detection of this disorder. Whereas, established in 2000, the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation began a global mission to serve as the trusted resource for the pulmonary fibrosis community by raising awareness, providing disease education, and funding research. And whereas the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation unifies patients, caregivers, medical professionals, and the general public by sharing and providing the latest information about advancements alongside all of the work still to be done within the global pulmonary fibrosis community. And whereas Monroe County and its residents have benefited immeasurably from the groundbreaking research and awareness efforts of the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation. As September was Global Pulmonary Fibrosis Awareness Month, we congratulate the many efforts by the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation to bring awareness to this disease. The work done by its medical experts, support staff, and volunteers have helped save the lives of citizens throughout our community, and we are so grateful for their service. Now, therefore, we, Cheryl Donalfo, Monroe County Executive, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, Brian E. Marinetti, Majority Leader, and Cynthia W. Cayley, Minority Leader, on behalf of Monroe County, do hereby recognize and congratulate the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation for their commitment to serving our community through research and awareness.
Thank you very much to Cindy Cayley for helping with this effort, and to Cheryl Donalfo and Mr. Marinetti, who's a distant relative, so it's kind of nice that we have some connections here. This disease, as you know, tonight we had a moment of silence for Jim Vogel, and Jim Vogel passed away Saturday from this disease, and he has been inspirational to our support group. We have over 30 patients that are in this support group, and they keep being diagnosed every day. So this is a disease that has impacted many of our citizens, and we have a very impressive research lab going on at University of Rochester. They've been recognized nationally by the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation for their work, and they receive NIH grants to support pulmonary fibrosis research directly. So we're in the forefront of what's happening nationally and internationally for pulmonary fibrosis. So although I'm here accepting this with my mother, Marilyn, we accept this in honor of Jim Vogel and the other patients that are suffering with pulmonary fibrosis. And we thank you very much and hope that you'll continue to support research and pulmonary fibrosis. Thank you very much.
Would Deputy Kelly Cook please come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone, Legislator Tanya Conley, and Legislator Steve Brew. Whereas, since March of 2009, Monroe County Sheriff Deputy Kelly Cook has reported to work at the Hall of Justice every day, honorably keeping people in the courthouse safe. In addition to serving the judicial system by providing safety and security in the courthouse, Deputy Cook sets the standard for all law enforcement agencies by participating in enhanced training as a certified first responder. And whereas, for the past 9.5 years, Deputy Cook has screened courthouse entrants for weapons, maintained order and decorum in the courtrooms, guarded sequestered jurors, effected arrest or remands, and assumed responsibility for emergencies in the courthouse, including medical, fire, and bomb threats. The modern-day courthouse is a microcosm of society's strengths and weaknesses, visited daily by criminals, addicts, families in crisis, lawyers, judges, school children on field trips, reporters, and observers. And whereas, on September 24, 2018, a young mother and her infant child were proceeding through the security screening when the mother began to aggressively jump up and down, bouncing her baby in panic before calling out for help because her baby had stopped breathing. The court deputies immediately closed the entrance to the courthouse while Deputy Cook began to administer infant CPR. The courthouse became silent in an unprecedented and eerie manner as Deputy Cook professionally and calmly gave the infant chest compressions and mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The silence was then broken by a wail as the child's airway was cleared by the life-saving techniques utilized by Deputy Cook. And whereas Monroe County is proud to be the home of such brave members of law enforcement like Deputy Cook, she and her colleagues work tirelessly each day to keep our communities safe. Now therefore we, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, Tanya Connie, Legislator, District 18, and Steve Brew, Legislator, District 12, on behalf of the entire Monroe County Legislature, do hereby recognize and congratulate Deputy Kelly Cook on her selfless, heroic actions on September 24, 2018, which saved the life of an infant child.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm not really sure what to say. It's a privilege to be honored, but I did it with everyone in my bureau. Everything I forgot to do, my coworkers did for me. We did this together, and we wouldn't have been successful without each other. And I just want to take this recognition for my entire bureau and for the entire sheriff's office. So thank you very much.
Would Khadijah Yan please come forward? Also, President Dr. Joe Carbone, Legislator Ernest Flagler Mitchell, Legislator Vincent Felder, and Legislator Lachey Harris. Whereas it is the sense of these legislators to honor individuals and organizations that work to make Monroe County a better place for all. And whereas attendant to such concern and in full accord with the longstanding tradition, these legislators are justly proud to honor Khadijah Yan and the Rock Royal Foundation. And whereas in her passion to develop and empower youth, Ms. Yan created the nonprofit Rock Royal Foundation. Through her steadfast dedication to impact positive change, Khadijah promotes self-empowerment through fundraisers and youth programs that uplift and lead the community in a positive direction. And whereas Khadijah is a community leader who has spearheaded numerous successful events, including the 3rd annual Back to School Classic on September 1st, she and her volunteers provided 1,500 donated book bags and school supplies, which served more than 500 families for children going back to school. And whereas in 2017, Rock Royal Foundation served 10,000 people with events and programs throughout the city and suburbs of Rochester. Now therefore, let it be known that we, Dr. Joe Carbone, President, Ernest Flagler Mitchell, Assistant Minority Leader, Vincent R. Felder, Legislator, 22nd District, and Lachey D. Harris, Legislator, 27th District, do hereby recognize and honor Khadijah Yan for her commitment to youth and their families in Rochester and Monroe County on this 9th day of October, 2018.
Just not one of many words, but thank you to Lachey, Ernest, and Vince, and thank you everyone for supporting us. Thank you to my family, my sister Shakita, my brother Clive, and Ashley in the back that's been supporting us. We just want to continue to uplift our city of Rochester, continue to push our youth to the next level, and continue to build through the county of Monroe. Thank you, guys.
There are no formal committee reports scheduled for this evening. We will now hold a public forum. We have several people registered to address the legislature. Mr. Clerk.
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the lectern. I will call 3 people forward at one time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature, and kindly conclude your remarks when the timer sounds, and exit through the back of the chambers. Thank you for your cooperation. Our first 3 speakers will be Jasmine Regler, Jason Eliato, and Grace Miller.
Can I start now? Okay. Hello, everyone. I'd like to talk about something that I observed last month. Last month was my first time coming to these meetings. I think I'll be coming every month going forward. First of all, the difference from last month and this month. When our group came, I'm representing St. Joe's House of Hospitality. We came and there weren't enough seats, and we were told that we had to wait outside. As you can see, the room is full now, and there are other people standing, and they are not asked to wait outside. The environment of this room, the legislators, heads are down, people are in their phones. You're not taking us serious. It's like you don't care about poor people. You don't care about people of color. We just now had, and we still have someone still on their phone. I wonder if you can get off your phone and please pay attention, because you paid attention to everyone else, so why not pay attention to us? When awards were just given out, everyone was off their phones, everyone was off their devices, eyes were up, smiling. Now when it's time to talk about how this county can change, things want to change. People want to change. They don't want to listen to us. And another thing that happened last month when St. Joe's and House of Mercy came out here, the very next day the county and city went to House of Mercy. I don't know if that was your way of saying we shouldn't be doing this, but if that's the way you are going to act, then we are going to do the same thing. If you're not going to listen to us here, we will show up at churches, we will show up at your organizations, we will do whatever it takes to get your attention. That is all I have to say for right now. I hope going forward we will have your full attention, like you give the people that you give awards your full attention to, and I look forward to addressing everyone next month again. Thank you.
And I have to say ditto to everything that she said tonight. She was right on target. Look at all the people standing here tonight. Last time, we could not stand here because we were just the homeless union, so we couldn't stand. It was a real shame. And it's true, the next morning, someone from the county and the city came to find fault with the House of Mercy. We take care of the homeless. We're asking you to help us take care of the homeless, and you disregard everything we say. We're asking you to reduce the sanctions imposed on our homeless. Nothing has happened since we were here last time and the years before when we came here. Sanctions keep our homeless homeless. Now we know that when you sanction homeless people, the county is saved money. That's the bottom line. But the lives of our homeless are much more important. And just recently, a homeless man was found dead in Washington Square Park. While the Cadillac Hotel is bolted, locked, they removed all the poor from the Cadillac. That's locked, empty, and a homeless man dies on the park. That's pretty sad for this county. I'm going to tell you a story, and I want you to listen to it closely, because you don't know what goes on in the hearts and the lives of our homeless people. 38-year-old homeless man at the House of Mercy comes into my office, and he's crying. He grew up on a farm. When he was young, he and his brother were on a tractor. For some reason, this young man got off the tractor. His brother stayed on the tractor, and he was driving the tractor. The young man that was driving the tractor fell off, and he was killed. And their father was standing nearby and said to this homeless man, when he was standing there at a young age, said to him, "It should have been you." And the man kept repeating over and over again. He said, "I can still hear my father saying, 'It should have been me. It should have been me.'" And he said, it probably should have been me. And I was the first person he ever told that story to, which meant that he kept all this inside himself for years. That's one story among many of our homeless people. If you want to know what a homeless person needs, talk to them, and you won't be so harsh on them. The sanctions are hurting them. They're asking you to reduce the sanctions so that they can have some peace and have some place to stay, have a place to live in, and not have to stay on the streets and die on the streets. This county has a lot to stand for. You are responsible for the homeless people in our city. The state has given you the responsibility, and you have the leeway. You have the leeway to do what you need to do, not say, well, we can't do anything about it, because that's what we keep hearing. I can't do anything about it. But we're saying you can do something about it, and you need to do something about it.
Can I have my brothers and sisters in red stand, please? My name is Jason Eliotto. I'm the president of the Monroe County Sheriff's Police Benevolent Association, which represents nearly 250 law enforcement officers. We're here tonight to strongly support SOAR, our brothers and sisters, in their fight for reasonable and fair treatment by this county. As police officers and women of the Monroe County Sheriff's PBA are committed to securing a safe community and maintain the trust and respect of those we serve by providing exemplary law enforcement services. Each day, the men and women of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office PBA put their lives on the line as a sworn duty to the people of this county. Current and retired officers ask only that this county and the county executive and this legislature treat our officers fairly. As you know, Monroe County has taken steps to end contractually promised health insurance coverage for some 1,800 retirees, including retired members of all bureaus of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Unfortunately, this type of response and action from the county towards our police has become the norm and not the exception. This year alone, our police union has attempted to address several issues of concern with this administration, only to be met with silence. Unanswered letters, anti-union websites sent to our deputies will not solve the issues that we face. Instead, I'm asking this administration and this legislature to not only support the police in your words or when it's in your political interest, but in your actions as well. Unfortunately, due to my request for a meeting being ignored, we are forced to address these issues here tonight in the only forum that's available to us. The Monroe County Sheriff's PBA has always tried to work with the county and this administration on issues facing our members. As the second largest law enforcement agency in Monroe County, we ask that the county executive and this legislature treat our officers fairly. With that said, we ask that the contract and benefits of our retirees, some of those here in red, are restored, and the promises that this county made to our officers, to our retirees, be kept. Thank you.
Our next three speakers will be Mrs. Morales, William Burton, and Rita Lewis.
Proverbs 22:22-23. Rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. For the Lord will plead their case, and the soul of them that sold them. There are people who look for ways to take advantage of any and every one they can, taking delight in hurting others when they're down. These are the cunning and ruthless and merciless. God is on the side of the meek. Where is your faith, your grace in God? Let's try to suggest ways to find common grounds on the issues that divide us. We can find common grounds only by moving to higher grounds. Consistency-based politics with its fractional interest will not lead us to higher ground. Politics has been reduced to self-struggles and power among competing interests and groups instead of a process of searching for common ground. We need a politics that offers us something we haven't had in a long time, a vision of transformation. A new sense of direction will require a more compass that we can trust. The politics of power will never yield to the politics of community without real transformation. The moral issue at the heart of the public debate are often unrecognized, ignored, or worse yet, manipulated and twisted. Politically self-serving and idolatrous purposes. You don't want us at your schools. You don't want us in your neighborhoods to live by you. You don't want us at your big gatherings, your churches. Smiling faces show no traces of the lies that lie within, so you think. If you're pissed off about or from us, fair exchange is no highway robbery. Gentrification, wherever we go, you want to control, and we say enough is enough.
This is a poetic prayer called PRC, Poor Righteous Communities. I pray that God sets on your hearts and your souls. I pray that God leads y'all away from committing oppression to those who are weak and not able to stand for themselves. I also pray that God takes away the evil in the hearts of those who do not wish to lend a helping hand to those who desire it the most. But most importantly, and I believe this with every fiber of my heart, most importantly, I pray that y'all find peace in your soul.
I wish to speak tonight to remind you that our county social services department needs to reduce the number of sanctions and denials that they are meting out to the applicants who come through the doors looking for help. People who go to DSS in need of help do so because of very dire need and nowhere else to turn. And these families are very often families with children who end up suffering needlessly because the adults who care for them are being denied basic assistance. The number of sanctions and denials in Monroe County are higher than the number in New York City. and this is wrong, and this needs to stop. The other issue I want to talk about is the Cadillac Hotel. It is empty. It is not being used. And we have far too many homeless and people in need of housing. We need to come up with a plan that will allow the Cadillac to be the dwelling place of our poor who need such a place. And do not say it is not your jurisdiction. This is not your place to enter into this discussion, because we all know that you have the ability to bring your power and your efforts to whatever it is you desire to do. We all know you have that power, and we are asking you to really think about bringing that Cadillac Hotel back to the poor. Thank you.
Our next three speakers will be Yolanda Batista, Robert Kehoe, and Barry Kittleberger.
Good evening. I just want to say that homelessness is a very serious problem. I mean, just like the guy they found deceased in Washington Park, he's homeless. The guy they found homeless, dead behind the old state hospital building. I mean, there's a problem. And something needs to be done about that. And the church, I mean, the Bible says we are all God's children. So why do homeless get treated like aliens? I don't understand that. Something's got to be done. Something's got to change. Because the problem is not getting any smaller. It's getting bigger, bigger, and bigger. And it's just about out of control now. There's nothing being done about it. And then I hear people saying they're going to do something, they're going to do something, just like there were some homeless people sleeping under the expressway on South Avenue, the overpass. They built a new building and they made a move to another empty lot. That's not solving the problem. That's only relocating the problem. I don't understand it. You know, that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. In the past, I've directed my remarks to all of you. But tonight, I'm going to speak to the people who are seated on this side of the room. At the very beginning of this process, I said this should not be a political issue, but it should be simply an issue of right and wrong. And unfortunately, it seems to have not turned out that way, which I deeply regret. For the past 13 months, members of the Sheriff's Office Association of Retirees and our supporters have attended every meeting of this legislative body. We have respectfully asked for nothing more and nothing less than the restoration of the health care benefits we were contractually promised at the time we retired. In the interest of fairness and accuracy, the county did provide us with a $50 per month health reimbursement account in 2018 that we did not previously have. But we are nevertheless now forced to find and pay for our own medical insurance, as well as costly co-pays and deductibles. Sadly, the pleas to restore our benefits have fallen on deaf ears. Most of you, including the county executive herself, have simply ignored us. Others have done nothing more than to pay us lip service, telling us privately they sympathize with our plight and want to help us, but then taking a totally opposite position so as to remain in lockstep with the administration. Remarkably, one of you even claimed to not know that collective bargaining agreements even existed between the county and the sheriff's office employees at the time we retired. When I first spoke about this topic last November, I told you that we were not going away. And I think the turnout here this evening of SOAR members, along with our supporters from CSEA, the airport firefighters, retirees from the Rochester Police Department, and others, will attest to the accuracy of that statement. And so I will say it once again, and I'll keep saying it if necessary until next November. We kept our promise, and we expect you to keep yours. And we are not going away. Thank you.
Now, isn't that nice? You all have a voice. And unfortunately, I am the only voice for right now for the children. Children that are being abused, children that should be somewhere where they would be safe instead of getting beaten over and over again because they're young, they do not have a voice. There's no one there to protect them. We have a child protective service, which is really great. It's old. I think they said it was put up in 1972. The world is different. The world is very different. Now we're playing Monopoly with human beings. I envision a big world with big men sitting on top of a nation, and they're playing Monopoly. And the weakest people, we're not getting nothing. We come here and we beg. I know I'm begging. And I kept thinking if we could get money for attorneys, because I'm not an attorney. I froze. I could not defend my family. It is extremely painful when you're paralyzed and you're there in front of a judge and you got 3 attorneys playing chess with you. Because they're just there to play. They're there to win. The more trials they win, the more money they can get on the next one. A child that was returned back to the person that killed her, that attorney for the child, they're living. The attorney for the child that told me, oh, don't talk about child abuse or sexual abuse. You're going to brand him. Oh my God. So that's what you think about people that are abused. Not only are they victims because they got abused, they're victims because society now has marked them. They're dirty. You know, that's horrible. And I see now that coming here, I'm so glad I came because I was looking at the homeless people that were talking. You all are also part of the game. You're part of the game. You're down there because you know what? We got some really smart legislators here. We really do. They can help us. They can help us, but we just got to get in there. We got to get in there. We got to get in. You know, like when you were young, you played rope, you jump rope. You got to get in. We got to get in, and we got to know how to play the game. We got to know how to. They know how to play the game. You know, it's not bad. It isn't bad. You all saw a game that was played for the whole world to see with that poor judge. No, that was a shame. That was no, it wasn't embarrassing. That was just revealing. Gloves were off, the mask was gloved, and we saw the real thing. That was horrible. So all I got to say, I decree and I declare New York State will be a Republican state because that's what it needs to be. Thank you.
Our next 3 speakers are Orzant Reagans, Bridget Hurley, and Brian Gravel.
My name is Orzan Reagans, and I am one of the many faces of being homeless. I'm tired of the high-priced society not giving us affordable housing. There's supposed to be subsidies. Where is it? Where is the subsidies? I'm here today to let you know I'm not going to stop fighting this war against the government, because the government has failed me as well as others, as a community, as a state as a whole, for having a safe, affordable housing. I want to live comfortable too. How can I do that? I have medical disabilities. There has been sanctions. DSS will not help me if I needed emergency housing. 211 will not help me if I need housing. I've slept in porta potties, and I'm not proud to say that. Then you can't even sleep in the park. I've done tents. There's no places where we can go sleep in a tent now. If we go there, we're getting arrested. Or where is we going to go and live? It doesn't make any kind of sense. I don't understand it. There's been told, oh, we're doing something about it. We're working on it. There is nothing going on. Don't see nothing. All we see is taking our finances away, putting us on the streets. You have seniors. You have families with newborn babies. Let alone shelters. There's really no shelters. Then I have to pay most of my income just to live in a shelter. If it wasn't for Sister Grace, the House of Mercy, which is full of love and we're all connected as a community, I don't think I'll be alive today. Because I did get raped and attacked. Why? Because of the unaffordable cost of living. And it's too much for me, and it's too much for my people. So this is a war I'm going to fight until I cannot breathe, live, or think about fighting this fight. I'm tired of doing it, and I'm going to keep on fighting.
Good evening. I'm Bridget Hurley from the Children's Agenda, and want to just talk about a couple of things tonight. One is I want to commend all of the county staff who worked really hard to get the county ready for implementation of Raise the Age legislation on October 1st. It was an incredibly challenging process, I know, and I know a lot of hard work went into it, so I appreciate that. I wanted to also talk today about the county executive's 8-point CPS plan. Got the updates last month, which was really helpful. I do feel that there are some other data points that are needed for the community to really understand whether this plan is being successful in its implementation, because I know we share that goal of improving our CPS system. So, for example, some questions that I might ask are the safety assessments and the investigations being completed on time at a higher rate than in May 2018? What percentage of families are now being referred to evidence-based services that reduce family stress and reduce the chance of child abuse and neglect? What's the current number of caseworkers, and what is the caseload ratio? When do you estimate that CPS will be fully staffed, including the 30 additional positions that were added in last year's budget? And as I said last month, I understand that's not going to happen quickly, but it would be good to get an update on the estimate. And also really interested in the review of state laws and regulations that impact CPS. And I know you were in the process of gathering that information and coming up with a list of things that the county is going to advocate for at the state level. Would love to see that list. Perhaps we could join you in your advocacy to create a better functioning CPS system. So again, just look forward to hearing more about the implementation of the plan, and thank you in advance for that.
Our next three speakers are Ed Ramsberger, Shaquan Woods, and Michelle Shanker.
Wait a minute, Jack.
Last speaker was Michelle Shankar.
Good evening. Thank you for letting me be here this evening. People there, not these people. I had a speech for the last meeting, which was September 11th, to talk about the 12 heroes of the Monroe County Sheriff's Department that gave their lives in the line of duty, to end with a comment that 4 of these people of my age era, you probably would have rescinded their retiree health benefits. But I got changed tonight because we saw one of the best here, Deputy Kelly. One of the best. Take my attention over to here. The proclamation, I got 4, 5, 6 of them. They don't mean nothing. Please forgive me, my colleagues from the Court Security Bureau, of which this deputy is from, but they don't mean nothing because you folks ain't backed it up. I got beautifully flowered, worded, big documents for things I was involved in. I got a person back here that saved a family in a house fire one night when we were working. Have another individual sitting over here that took a kid out of a burning car. What does it mean? You haven't kept your part of the bargain. 40 years of contractual agreements, gone. Why? Why, folks? Meet with us. We'll take you to coffee. We know coffee shops. You won't talk to us. You won't make any movements on this. Why? These documents don't mean nothing. I returned my bunch to a couple of folks here that are here tonight that wrote them. The words don't mean anything because your actions have not followed them up. So keep that in mind this November and next November. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Shaquan Woods. I'm here from the House of Mercy. I'm here with the Homeless Union to speak on sanctions. It's wrong how DSS is treating our homeless, how our homeless have to sleep under bridges. Come on now. We have elderly people that sleep under these bridges. They should be inside of a shelter. Then you guys have the Cadillac Hotel with 97 empty rooms. What point is that? I mean, come on. I want to turn my attention to the left. Now, that is not right how you treat our homeless people. You guys should be able to help us, not stand there and let us sleep under the bridges or have to sleep in parks. Come on now. We should be able to have somewhere to lay our heads comfortably. But I'm going to let you guys know this. I will be back in November, and we are not going nowhere. We are coming back.
The future of our community relies on the outcomes of our children. My name is Michelle Shunker. I'm a fourth-year medical student at the University of Rochester, working with the Children's Agenda, and I'm here to speak about the need for the county to spend the allotted funding provided by the New York State Economic Development Program in support of child care. New York State made a commitment to spend $3 million toward child care in Monroe County by next spring. As of June 2018, only $25,385 of that $3 million was spent. Meanwhile, thousands of families in Monroe County are eligible for subsidized child care who do not use it due to lack of awareness and other significant barriers in access. Instead, many choose unregulated, lower quality, and less reliable care that is not ideal for our children's safety and healthy development. The Children's Agenda has provided suggestions to the county regarding evidence-based and effective ways to spend this money, including lowering parent fees at accredited child care providers, increasing reimbursement differentials for accredited programs, and targeting specific populations in our county who would benefit most from child care subsidies. In summary, on behalf of the Children's Agenda and the children of Monroe County, I urge you to make the best use of the $3 million allotted to child care funding. Every cent left unspent is at the expense of high-quality child care for every child in Monroe County. Thank you.
Our next 3 speakers are Joel Shapiro, Tyrone Hodge, and Juan Roman.
You can go up. Anyone can go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Juan Roman. I was here a couple of months ago. I guess y'all recognize my face. Some of y'all, most of y'all. I talked about me being in New York City, me being homeless for 16 years. At the meantime, I'm still homeless, and I'm 30 right now. Next month will be my 31st birthday. I just want to talk about how can y'all help us as a community for the homeless people. Because I never had a stable place. I always lived in the streets for 16 years, about to be 17 years. I came to Rochester in 2012, September 11, 2012. And I realized there was going to be a big change for me here. I was going to be living good, have my own apartment, but that never happened. I ended up being homeless again. And I've been homeless for 6 years here, including 10 years in New York City. I slept in the train systems, buses, made my own cardboard box. I went in garbage cans to find bed settings. I did all that on my own. But where is the help that we need? We vote for y'all to help us. We vote for y'all to help us. Like, I came a couple of months ago and I told you my story of how my mother abandoned me when I was 15. I was an outcast. Where's the help? Like, I'm about to be 31 years old and I'm still homeless. Like, I'm not understanding. We vote for y'all to help the community, and I see all these buildings getting built, but where's the homeless going? I don't see the homeless going nowhere, including myself. So please, I'm begging, kindness of your heart, think this over as a team and join forces and help the poor community, especially the homeless people, especially like myself, to be stable for national. Help us not to be sanctioned anymore, because I have a learning disability as well, and I have a 3rd grade reading level. So please, I beg of you, if I have to come back and speak on my birthday, November 9th, I will. Y'all will see my face again. Thank you. I appreciate for your time and your consideration.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Power, the ability to do something or in a particular way, especially as a faculty or quality. Synonyms: ability, capacity, capability, potential, faculty, competence. The capacity or ability to direct or influence the behavior of others or the course of events. Power. We all want power. For what though? I've learned why the number of problems of the homeless cannot be solved. But every economic situation can be. Money don't hurt. Building don't hurt. That's easy. Cut a deal. Skip an inspection code. The power to change the suffering of hurting people involves hurting yourselves, feeling that hurt. It's too painful to care, I know, it is. That's why I got my eyes on the blueprint of people who feel that pain. Minister Florence and Sister Grace. I'm sorry, my eyes has shifted where power used to be to where power is right now. I want to possess power, to believe and where I believe that you used to believe. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Let's believe again.
Our final speakers will be Sherry Nunn, Tom Jones, Tammy Cole, and Joel Shapiro.
Good evening. My name is Sherry Nunn. I'm a little bit hoarse, but I'm a registered nurse. I worked as a CNA, and then I had a career as a registered nurse. I'm retired because of depression. Today, I became homeless. I sold my house in May because I had an addiction of taking homeless people into my house, and it wasn't helping Sherry. Okay, I never knew that I'd be homeless today. I went to the hospital because of depression. I know this issue inside out. I know it is an RN. And today I'm at the House of Mercy. Thank God. Thank you, Sister Grace and Rita. After the sheriff just spoke to this side of the aisle, I saw Cheryl laugh, and I'm glad that other young woman, spoke about your cell phones, because you need to listen to this issue. People do not choose to be homeless. Rich people think it's a choice. Having a home shouldn't be a privilege. It should be a right. As a registered nurse who's been on both sides, I never knew I'd be homeless today, and this is God's truth. I've been on both sides. I could go on and on about health care and why we need universal health care, but that's for another meeting here. Having a home should be a right, not a privilege. People do not choose to be homeless. If any of your children or family members, okay, the buzzard, that police officer or the sheriff's department, they deserve their benefits, and I advocate for that. I advocate for their benefits, and I advocate that you pass. We are calling on this side of the aisle that don't have a clue or don't choose to not have a clue about what. I'm telling you my story as a successful person in the society who's now homeless. We are calling on our local politicians to pass bill number 803611, which would drastically reduce employment sanctions in our county. In 2017, Monroe County averaged 629 people on employment sanctions, when I think the sister mentioned New York City averaged half, 335 per month. Help the side of the aisle. I think we have this side of the aisle on our side. Help us, the homeless people, by being a voice to our state politicians in passing this bill. I ask you, if you have a religious belief, and one of the women talked about the Bible, this is not a political issue. This is about taking care of people, and again, most of the people on the streets have mental illness or they're veterans. I heard the doctor, I'm sorry, I didn't know his name, he has a good program, the Dwyer program for vets. A lot of the elderly people, I'm 55.
Please summarize.
I can walk.
Please summarize.
I urge for you to think about this including you, Cheryl.
My name is Tammy Cole, and I am a homeless person myself. And it's not fun at the age of 50 to be out on those streets. So this side over here, I will like to let you guys know if there's any way you guys can help the homeless, because the homeless is what we need. And helping children and these disabled kids that are on the street. And all these homeless not having a place to sleep.
This concludes the public forum.
We will now proceed with the consideration of motions, resolutions, and notices. Will the clerk read the next item on the agenda?
Item number 1, referral 18-0248.
Moved by Legislator DeFlorio, seconded by Legislator Boyce. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 2, referral 18-0251.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 3, referral 18-0252.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 4, referral 18-0253.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 5, referral 18-0254.
Moved by Legislator Boyce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 6, referral 18-0255.
Moved by Legislator Bruce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 7, referral 18-0256.
Moved by Legislator Bruce, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Legislator Broth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Through you to the administration, the referral indicates that an environmental review will be completed prior to this meeting. I just wish to inquire if that environmental review has been completed or not.
Through you, Mr. President, yes, it has.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 8, referral 0256.br.
Moved by Legislator Brew, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 9, referral 18-0257.
Moved by Legislator Brew, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 10, referral 18-0258.
Moved by Legislator Brew, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 11, referral 18-0259.
Moved by Legislator Michiki, seconded by Legislator Brew. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 12, referral 18-0260.
Moved by Legislator Howland, seconded by Legislator Delahanty and Legislator Lightfoot. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 13, referral 18-0261.br.
Moved by Legislator Howland, seconded by Legislator Delahanty and Legislator Lightfoot. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 14, referral 18-0262.
Moved by legislator Howland, seconded by legislator Delahanty and legislator Lightfoot. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 15, referral 18-0262.br.
Moved by legislator Howland, seconded by legislator Delahanty and legislator Lightfoot. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 16, referral 18-0263.
Moved by legislator Howland, seconded by legislators Delahanty and legislator Lightfoot. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Legislator Marionetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to make a motion to amend this item. Second. And I believe it's being distributed now.
Amendment made by legislator Marionetti, seconded by legislator Conley. I'll give everybody a moment to review the amendment, and then we'll have some discussion. Mr. Marionetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to offer the administration, through you, an opportunity to explain why this amendment is necessary on this item.
Thank you. Through the President, the purpose of the motion is to correct the reference to funding in the last portion of Section 1, first paragraph of Section 1, which currently says the funding is from an operating account. That's incorrect. It should refer to funding from the capital funds account. The funding is correctly described in the second paragraph as from the capital funds.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further discussion? Legislator Broth.
Thank you, Mr. President. So through the President, the administration regarding this amendment, then am I correct to assume that this was just a simple oversight, correct? In the language.
Through the President, that's correct.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Vote on the amendment. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment carries. We'll now return to the main motion. Is there any further discussion on the main motion? Legislator Broth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Regarding the referral itself, I was just, through the President, would like to ask the administration, has there been an update on the number of properties that may or are being acquired through eminent domain? Last I heard, there were potentially 2, probably 1. Is there an update?
Through the President, there's 1.
So through the President administration, there's 1 current property that is going to be acquired through eminent domain, but the rest agreements have been reached, correct?
Through the President, that's correct.
And then finally, through the President administration, could you confirm for me which property it was that is going to be acquired through eminent domain? Would it be map 44?
Through the President, no.
No, then I had that wrong. Which one would it be then, please, through the administration, through the President?
Okay, through the President, we're acquiring a temporary easement, and it's for map 46.
So through the President's administration, that's where we're going to exert the eminent domain, correct?
Through the President, yes.
So through the President's administration, it was my understanding that map 44 parcel had been foreclosed upon, and that they owed property taxes, and there were no responses that we're going to condemn. Did that not occur through the President?
Through the President, it is correct that the owner did sign our paperwork to allow us to proceed with potentially acquiring that easement. It is still in the foreclosure process with the bank.
Thank you. So finally, through the President of the Administration, with the exception of the one, map 46, that's going to be acquired through eminent domain, have the other properties all signed their agreements through the President?
Through the President, we have two that were waiting to come in the mail. They were, the owners were on vacation and forgot to send them before they left for vacation, and they should be here this week.
Okay, so through the President of the Administration, however, you're very confident that we'll receive those shortly?
Through the President, that's correct.
Okay, thank you very much.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 17, referral 18-0264.
Moved by Legislator Zale, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. Legislator Lightfoot, you want to say? Okay. Okay. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 18, referral 18-0265.
Moved by Legislator Zale, seconded by Legislator Delahanty. This is to adopt. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 20, referral 18-0268.
That's confusing. Moved by Legislator Delahanty, seconded and moved by Legislator Cayley, seconded by Legislator Hebert, and seconded by Legislator Baroth, Moyo, Morelli, Felder, Matucci, Wilcox, Lightfoot, Legislator Flagler Mitchell. You want to get in on this? You got it. And Legislator Harris. Is there any discussion? Legislator Cayley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Usually at this point, Legislator Baroth stands up and says, why is this a matter of urgency? However, it wasn't really that urgent tonight. We're at the end. But I am proud to stand and just offer my support with a vote on the reappointment of Commissioner Thomas Ferrisi. He has served Monroe County Board of Elections faithfully and well for a number of years. I'm embarrassed to say I don't know how many. 20. And I am proud to be a part of this moment. I will leave it at that. Thank you.
Legislator Morelli.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, rise to, in my support of Commissioner Ferrisi. Commissioner, I think it's fair to say you probably knew me longer than I've known me. And we thank you for all that you do for the Democratic Party and for Monroe County as a whole. And I congratulate you on another well-deserved term. So thank you for everything you do.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries. There being no unfinished business, Legislator Marionetti.
Thank you, Mr. President. We stand adjourned until 6 p.m. Tuesday, November 13th, 2018.